Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another video. I was supposed to make this video about the psychological effects of living under the non-Muslims, but inshallah that takes a little bit more time, and the topic is emotional for me, and it's traumatizing actually, so I'll get to that. I gotta muster up the strength to actually address those issues, because like I said, when I did the series, what it means to be Western, it was like purging myself and getting a monkey off of my back, like trauma dumping, and I didn't even realize it. So whenever you talk about those things, I've been affected by it myself and had to fix it and dig. Been doing so many years of digging and trying to figure out what was the problem. Why was the behavior conflicting with what we were ascribing to Islamically, which brings me to the topic of tonight: cultural baggage. So my daughter and I, we were talking. And we were talking about marriage. And, not just marriage, but just what I noticed being Muslim and dealing with the Muslims. And I read a statement from Sheikh Al-Albani regarding how a man can be Salafi in his Aqidah, right? You have the correct belief, but he will not be Salafi at the same time in his behavior or in his upbringing. He wasn't raised Salafi, which a lot of people have that condition. Their parents were on whatever, different types of innovation, whether it was, or secularism, different types of beliefs that they had. Not everyone's parents was religious, even if they were born Muslim. So you were raised on whatever you were raised on. Whatever methodology your parents were upon, they raised you on that. Whatever culture you came from, that's what's inside of you. So I was like, subhanAllah, that's 100% true. 100%. And that's exactly what we witnessed. Salafi is not just ascription, and just having the right beliefs. It's everything. Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came to correct the belief, the worship, and the manners, right? And many of the Salafiyin, they have the belief right, but when it comes to everything else, they drop it, unfortunately. And this is not everybody, of course not. You have some people who are trying to strive and work on their akhlaq and everything. But the baggage thing, I told my daughter, I said, I got divorced. I got married because I wanted Islam and I wanted Sunnah. I wanted someone who was on the same page that I was on, right? That I can strive with. So I got married for Allah and I got divorced for Allah. Because when a person like myself was striving to find out what was wrong culturally, but other people are not, nor were they interested, nor did they know that they should be, it's going to be a clash. Because when you start rejecting things culturally, and the person who you're with wasn't expecting that, nor were they looking for it, nor did they want it, it's going to be a 100% clash. They're not on board, especially if it's a man, because the men are the leaders and the women are on what the men are upon. So if me as a woman that's under a man changes, or I'm striving in a way that they're not, it's going to be a conflict, big time. So I was telling my daughter that, when you're, it's upon all of us who have cultures that are conflictual with the religion, with the manners, and even the beliefs. That's why I wrote what I wrote, what it means to be Western. If you don't get rid of that stuff, then anyone who is trying to strive, or anyone who's not upon that, you're going to have conflict with that individual. That goes for Salafiyyin no matter what country they come from. I don't care what country they're from. They bring cultural baggage. The Muslims that have been Muslim for generations, they have cultural baggage for many reasons. Of course, that comes along with the territory. Just like Westerners, they have cultural baggage from many aspects. From being Christian and then throwing Christianity away because they had PTSD. I don't think they know they had PTSD, but they do. The West has PTSD from Christianity. That's just the truth. If you look into Christianity and people who used to be Christian and how many atheists there are or how many irreligious people there are, it's due to all of the trauma, the harm, the lies, the, being pushed down because you're not allowed to ask questions. All sorts of things why people just run away from religion and they don't like to be preached to. Don't talk to me about religion. Don't force it down my throat. They are traumatized from the church being over them and oppressing them and, persecuting them and all sorts of things. They're traumatized. So when you got people who come into Islam that's coming from that culture and they're not even aware that they have baggage, that their whole attitude and their whole existence is a trauma response. Their whole society and what they're upon and what they've arrived to right now is a trauma response. Even the attitudes towards intimacy and how far they went and how deviant they went is relates to the intimacy between men and women. The revolution that they had in the 60s. The sexual revolution. That's a trauma response. So people like that, like us, that are coming into the religion with all these ideas about, religion and what's man-made and, people manipulating and taking advantage and you don't trust man because religion can be distorted and all this, that come from Christianity. That's a trauma response. And people bring that into the religion, which I don't blame them because that's the only type of religion that they know. You understand what I'm saying? And likewise, Muslims that are coming from other cultures, from the people of innovation, they're repressed in many ways. They're repressed because they didn't follow the Sunnah. There are effects for not following the religion the way that it came down. Those are all baggages and other cultural things that develop that has nothing to do with religion, but the Muslims are practicing it. Though that's baggage. That's all baggage. So I was telling my daughter that because I strove so hard, I literally left everything that I know, the people that I know, the lifestyle that I knew, my comfort, my support for years. Made a decision like that at 15 years old. No way in the world that I can even deal with anybody who's not on the same page or who at least is not already there. They've already done the work. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want it. I'm saying friends. And I'm not looking for nobody that's perfect. We're not talking about perfection. But at least if you are not aware of anything at all and you just behaving however you're behaving, no, especially when it comes to marriage. A person has to be raised upon the Sunnah. He has to come from religious people. Like, you don't have to do no work. I don't have to worry about that. And the other cultural stuff, they're going to be on the same page. Rejecting. They know what's Sunnah and what's not from their own people. But Allah Musta'an, you got old civilizations like, for example, Syria and Jordan that Islam came to and they got Arabized. They have culture that got mixed in with Islam. Asia, whether it's Southeast Asia or Far East Asia, when Islam came to those countries like Malaysia, they were pagan people. They have culture that was mixed in with Islam when it came. Everyone does it. So it's upon every individual who, especially if they ascribe to Salafiyya, you have to sift out what's against the religion, what's against the Sunnah. That's a jihad. That's a hijra from actions. Sometimes it's difficult. No, it is difficult. I'm not going to say sometimes. It is. That's a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing to go against everything you know and everybody that you know. And I don't mean being extreme. Like, you just got your guns out shooting at people, pointed at everybody like, no, that's bid'ah. No, that's this, that's that. No, you gotta use wisdom. But yeah, it's a challenge. 100%. 100% it's a challenge. And sometimes your family turns against you. Many times, whether they Muslim or not, they turn against you. They try to harm you. They make fun of you. All sorts of things. Those who have come to Salafi and their families are not Salafi, they know what I'm talking about. I used to think that was just a new Shahada thing. People who come into Islam, they have a hard time with their family members. No. People who come to the Sunnah and their families are, not conservative, they also go through the same thing. But yeah, I don't want anyone's cultural baggage because I'm getting rid of mine. I'm not bringing my baggage. You understand what I mean? So that's something that y'all have to, y'all have to know that exists. It exists in you, and it exists in the people of the lands that you're making hijrah to. That just comes a part of it. But you have to, it comes along with the package, but you have to do your own work and worry about yourself. But if you from Ahl Sunnah, you can't do nothing about other people. But if you a person of the Sunnah, this is what bothers me. You're a person of the Sunnah and you Salafi. And you quote. And you recite. And then when life hits you, you throw everything behind your back. Where's the verses? Where's the reminders? When it's time to implement them, that's out the window. I don't respect that. I don't respect that. I really don't. I really don't. So, yeah, I don't want I'm good on people's cultural baggage because I'm not bringing mine. And I don't deal with people from my culture who have that baggage either. I leave them right where they at. I deal with everyone with manners and etiquette. But when it comes to nonsense, I don't mess around. I had a certain type of lifestyle, a certain type of people that I used to deal with. And that I grew up around. And then it's not criminal people, but what you call them? Bougie. What they say bougie, yeah. Individuals who are very materialistic. Any sister that had those characteristics in the ranks when I used to be in Philly, I ran away from them. I made sure I stayed under the radar, and I stayed with sisters who were trying to be religious to the best of their ability, what they knew how to, sitting in America and reading books. That's who I gravitated to because I knew that was the only way to kick any ill habits, at least on the surface, until I started to dig deeper, and realized that it is a bigger problem. It's not just surface, attitude and being materialistic. No, it's deeper than that. We have layers. Look at the history of America. There are layers of problems. There are layers and phases and stages of trauma. So anyone who is coming from a background that's not originally on the Sunnah, and you really can only find those people in the Gulf, that was the original affair. That's the original affair. Islam, Sunnah, Hanafiya. That's common. The people know that's common. It's not like strange, like it was a movement. No, that was the original affair. They're the ones over in this region. They understand. And anything else is strange. Versus the rest of us, Khalafiyya is the foundation. You understand what I mean? Deviation is the foundation. Philosophy is the foundation. That's the cultural baggage that we're bringing in. And whatever else you're affected by, like in Pakistan, they have things that they adopted from the Hindus and how their family housing arrangements are. And in Afghanistan, certain practices that they have that's from ignorance, Allah Musta'an. Everyone has their cultural baggage. Everybody. So If you're a person of the sunnah, like I said, it's for you to get rid of that baggage. Look at what you come from. Look inside yourself. Reject it. Fight it. Even if you can't change your whole family or your society, but you have control over yourself. At least when you're meeting fellow Salafis, at least just bring the sunnah and bring some good manners. Don't bring that other garbage. Don't bring it. Because like I said, I'm not bringing it. And I didn't bring it to my marriages. SubhanAllah, I got rid of it. I was fighting it to the point that they didn't even know anything about me. They didn't know where I came from. They didn't know my history until I had to tell them. They didn't know anything about me. And like I said, I don't mean criminality or anything low and despicable, but I'm talking about my mindset, what I was used to. You know what I mean? The kind of family that I come from. They didn't know. Even mixing with my family, they just didn't know what was going on. They had no clue. Alhamdulillah, my family is well-mannered and educated. But you don't know people. You get what I'm saying? You don't know them. So that's what I'm all about. I need to know who I'm dealing with. And I'm going to do my part to the best of my ability to bring Islam when I'm dealing with you. Another thing I noticed, subhanAllah, if a person does not know the sunnah, you can practice it until you blue in the face. They will never recognize it. And of course, it's not for their recognition, but that's something that I noticed. I'm going to do a video about what I learned from being oppressed. And what I mean by being oppressed is people harming you and you're not doing anything back. And the things that you learn just by subduing what you have the capability to do in retaliation, but you stop yourself because you fear Allah, right? You learn a lot. You learn a lot of things. You learn a lot of things about people, about yourself, when you don't respond and you don't participate in things that people try to evoke in you. You know, they try to what's the word? It's the physic. What's the word? Provoke. Yeah. They try to provoke you because you come from the same place. So they're trying to get a response that they're used to from people that come from their culture. And when you don't respond like that, it's strange. And when you practice the sunnah, they don't know what they're looking at because they're not studying the way that they're supposed to, nor are they implementing. So it's interesting. It's interesting. So I'll do a video on that one as well. Inshallah. I have it's like a memoir or something. I have so many notes on this journey because it felt like to me this was like a religious experiment, but of course it was real life. Something that I actually wanted to do and see, where it takes me. But it definitely was like an experiment, like a case study. So, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. And don't forget that Hijrah mandate sacrifice. It's not just a physical Hijrah. It is a mental and spiritual and soul Hijrah as well. Ibn Qayyim said, rahimahullah, that Hijrah is from the asbab of jihad. It's from the aspects of jihad. Aqsam. Yes. It is from the aspects of jihad. And it's not a joke. It's not a joke. So yeah. Inshallah, I'll see y'all in the next video. Ma'a salama.